What is it? Friday night? Friday night live. Happy 4th of July, folks. Hope you're somewhere cool and safe. Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Anthony Corona, here on Speaking of the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And it's been a busy week, 2 weeks for the New Jersey Devils and general manager Sunny Mehta. Some moves, some trades. We had the draft. Let me just see what I got here. If you had not seen the Sunny Mehta media call, I highly recommend watching that. Always great to hear Sunny's insights. He did a pretty good, about 30 or so minute call with the media the other day. That's on the Devils YouTube channel. I'd highly recommend checking that out. There's also some on there was a media call with Evan Rodriguez, Boquist, but today was the highlight of player media calls. Fresh off of a 3-year contract, Arsenij Gritsuk, and Arsenij Gritsuk interviews are just, they're gold. Definitely watch it. Very charismatic kid, loves life, probably thrilled with his deal. So go check all that out on the Devils channel. I want to talk about some of the Sunny Mehta comments to start us off here. I'll get to the chat in a little bit. Shout out to everybody for popping in. Yeah, we'll get to the offer sheet too. That offer sheet was, sheesh. That's an offer sheet. But by the way, do you guys like the red light special? Tell me in the chat. Do you like the red light special or when it's super bright? I'm probably a little biased because I do like the red light because the spotlight is like blinding. But I'm curious. What do you guys think? Do you like the red light or the bright light? Ritter Engine said red. So, Sunny took a bunch of questions. I asked about the goaltending tandem, and he gave a pretty lengthy answer, which I took as that he was content with the nicodaws Allen tandem. And then he talked about how nicodaws has been a good prospect for the Devils, and he was kind of blocked for a while, which, makes sense that they moved on from Jacob Markstrom. And now it seems to me, based on everything we've seen, based on how he talked about Dawes, and then, later the details leaked about Rittich, but I guess it became official today. But it seems to me as though the Devils are giving Dawes the chance to claim the net and run with it. So you have nicodaws, Jake Allen, and David Rittich. I'm personally not expecting Rittich to play a ton. I know there's people think that he's going to play a lot. I don't think he will personally. I look at that as an insurance policy in case either an injury to Dawes or Allen or Dawes just falls apart. But we'll see. Maybe they do plan on playing him regularly. I really don't think he's going to play a lot. I think they're really setting nicodaws up for the opportunity to take the net and run with it, something that he's probably been anxiously awaiting for several years now, but was blocked by Markey and Allen. And then it looked like heading into last season, he was going to get an opportunity to be that 1B guy. And then Allen, in an unforeseen, super team-friendly deal, signed, and so that kind of blocked him again for another year. So I think this is his real chance. Will nicodaws?
He breaks laws and maybe jaws. Kicking him in net, nicodaws.
Is nicodaws going to claim the New Jersey Devils starter workload and run with it? We will find out. We will find out next season. Great opportunity for Dawes. He's looked good in some spots, hasn't played a ton in the NHL, has shown ability when we have seen him, and we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. We get to Rittich. Rittich, I do think, is just an insurance policy. Again, he might play a little bit. Maybe they try the 3 goalie thing. I don't think Sunny's counting on him to be the savior. I know a lot of people were expecting a big name goalie to come in still. I would believe that this would probably put that to rest. Again, anything could happen, and Sunny talked about that during his media availability, but I just don't see a big name goalie coming in. I think this is what you see. I think Rittich, again, insurance policy, in my opinion, I think he will be there to push Daws and make sure that he's on the top of his game in camp, in preseason. He'll, feel another guy there pushing for time. And we'll see how it all plays out. But I do think Daws is going to make the most of this opportunity, and we'll see what he does with it. But we look at Rittich, a bit of a journeyman. I got to take this off. Sorry, folks. My computer's going wild. Last season had a decent workload with the Isles. 30 games, 28 starts, 14 wins, a 276 goals against, and an 894 with 2 shutouts. Not great, but not terrible. Serviceable veteran, could come in when called upon and potentially give you decent NHL goaltending. Nice to have some goaltending depth. We've seen, not only with goalies, but just the Devils in general, the injuries have really mounted on them the past few seasons. And some of them in goal, obviously we saw it with Markstrom, but we shall see what becomes of the crease. I do think Daws, I think he's going to take the net and run with it. My prediction. We'll see how that all plays out. I'm trying to think here. What other things that I wanted to discuss with Sunny? Oh, so Sunny basically just kind of gave more insight into what we already knew about him with his analytical approach, the process. He talked about how, he has the process in place for evaluating players, that he's in charge of that, and that ultimately that pretty much determines decisions that they make on personnel. And you've seen that with some of the signings they've made. There's been a bunch of depth signings. Some of the guys will be in Utica. Some, I think, will push for NHL spots during training camp. And it's going to be interesting. I still do think there are plenty of moves to be made for the rest of the season, the offseason, rather. I don't think they're going to be anything major, but I do think you're going to see at least 1 or 2 defensemen traded out. There's just a lot of defensemen under contract. And if some of these guys on cheap deals can give, or at least if Sunny and his team believe they could be NHL contributors, I think some of the veterans are going to be shipped out for that cap savings. And if you do it with a couple guys, you're talking about some decent cap space being freed up. So it's something to keep an eye on as well. But one of the more interesting guys that Sunny had talked about in the press conference was Amadeus Lombardi. Amadeus Lombardi got a 2-year, $1.75 million deal, cap hit at $875. This year, it is a 2-way deal. So he could potentially go to Utica in the AHL and make far less than he would in the NHL. And then next year it becomes a 1-way. So he's going to get that full $875 no matter what. Interesting move here. They obviously see something they like in him. You look at the stats for him, and over the last 2 seasons with the Red Wings AHL club, the Grand Rapids Griffins, he has 82 points in 91 games. So almost a point per game guy. I would not be surprised if Amadeus Lombardi is on the opening night roster for your New Jersey Devils. I think that when Sunny made this signing, that they believe this kid could be an NHL contributor, and we're going to see. The bottom 6 potentially could look substantially different than it did last year. We saw the Tom Fitzgerald attempts. It seemed like annually, the annual summer bottom 6 revamp never really panned out outside of, I guess, Connor Brown. Outside of Connor Brown, and I guess Cody Glass as well. Outside of that, there's just been a bunch of kind of misses, and the bottom 6, for the most part, for the last couple of years, have not contributed much. And that really does put a strain on the big dogs. When the top 6 just doesn't have their best stuff and they can't get it going, very rarely were they ever bailed out by the bottom 6. And if you want to be a good team and you want to be a true contender, you absolutely need contributions to the bottom 6. They have to be able to put up points. fairly regularly, and especially on nights when the top guys just don't have it for whatever reason. They got to step up. Hasn't happened. The bottom six, I think, will look dramatically different, and then there's a lot of possibilities there. You know, we're talking about with Boquist, Evan Rodriguez brought over from the Florida deal. You got Lombardi. So there's a couple things shaking where you're like, the bottom six could look pretty different. And if that bottom six can be average, an average bottom six, a slightly above average bottom six, that could result in the team being much better. Let me see what we got here. Michael Miranda, thank you for the super. Dawes starting isn't a win now move, in my honest opinion. Is this another year we waste with our core? Going to be interesting. So I knew somebody would say something like that. My honest opinion is that this is and I said it even before we got to this point where everyone seems to agree that this is the goalie group, right? You got 3 goalies. However it shakes out, it shakes out. But I think most people are now accepting that Hellebuck or some other big-name goalie somehow is not coming. I think most people would agree with that. Obviously, anything can happen, but it's not looking likely. With that being said, massive, massive, massive gamble to roll into the season with those 3 goalies. It's a massive gamble. But like I said probably a week or 2 ago, if it works out well, it's a huge, huge win. You're talking about all 3 goalies, if you count all 3, and Rittich could get sent down, but even with all 3 of them, you're talking about $3.9 million total for 3 goalies. For comparison, Sergei Bobrovsky got $7 million a couple days ago. So you're talking about 3 goalies for $3.9 million. If it works out, that's a massive win that gives you cap space to use in other areas of need. Sunny talked about during the media availability, and again, I implore you to watch it. Sunny's a great speaker, and he gives a lot of good insight. He had talked about not only finding players that they think they can contribute, but he literally talked about making bets on guys. And Amadeus Lombardi was one of those guys, making bets on guys that we think can play above their contract value and have upside. Can Lombardi be one of those guys? Can the goaltending fit the bill there? So we're going to see, but I do think this is a massive, massive gamble, and it could work out. Now, if it doesn't, and this is where I think a lot of the PFSD comes in from people, because I do firmly believe that while Sunny's making this massive bet on the goaltending and rolling into the season with this trio, if it doesn't work out, I fully believe that he will do something about it, that he will not sit by idly with his hands in his pockets and go, oh, I hoped and wished. I don't think he's going to do that. And so we shall see how his bet pays off. But he talked about betting. He's talked about gambling. And the goaltending position is definitely that. He is betting on primarily nicodaws, but this group to be able to pull it off, give this team good enough goaltending to win on any given night. And we will see how it works out. Nicodaws is going to be a very interesting story this season. He's getting the opportunity he's been waiting for. And will he shine or will he crumble? Sink or swim season for Jaws. We're going to see. But I don't think, back to your comment, let me pull it up again. So I do think, and Son, we talked about this before too. Sunny is trying to win now and later, but for this particular season, in terms of trying to win now, he's clearly not going all in. I know a lot of people wanted to see like the all-in move, the flashy trade, tons of things for a guy. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of disappointment with that. He's not going all in on the season. He's still trying to win. And with some of these small tweaks, revamping the bottom 6, potentially a somewhat different looking decor, and then obviously the number one thing we talk about all the time, a healthy Jack Hughes or a healthy-ish Jack Hughes, I do think this team can be very good. And now as the season goes along, if they look like they're a good team, Sunny has weapons in the form of draft picks to really make a splash at the deadline or sooner or potentially next offseason. I know no one wants to hear that, but I don't think he's punting the season. I've seen people like, oh, he's punting the season. I don't think he's punting the season whatsoever. I think Sunny Mehta is trying to win, but he's not going all in just yet. And I get that's going to be disappointing to a lot of people. But I do think if you listen to what he says and you listen to his answers and his insight and everything about his process and philosophy, I do firmly believe he has a plan. Whether now his plan works or not is a different story. But if you believe in Sunny Mehta, I think you have to just sit back, be patient, and let him do his thing. It's not going to happen overnight. He inherited an absolute disaster. A disaster. One of the worst prospects pools in the entire league. What did he do? And I know it wasn't popular with a lot of people, but he drafted number 12 overall. And then heading into day 2, he turned 4 picks into 6 extra cracks at finding NHL talent. That's a pretty wise, cunning GM move there. Picked up 2 extra picks. Talked about during the press conference how rebuilding the Utica Comets was a priority. He talked about that with the owner, David Blitzer, how, Utica's kind of been neglected and is a little bit of a mess. He has to get that right. So almost every level of, the organization, whether it's prospects, current guys on the team, he inherited a lot of a big mess and had to fix it. And he pulled off what many would consider a miracle, that Markstrom deal. Got rid of that contract, found at least a bottom 6 piece, potentially 2, and freed up additional cap space. So he's getting to work. I know it's not quite as fast as many people were hoping, or you're not seeing the flashy names, but there's still plenty of offseason left. I do expect some salary to get shipped out, and you never know what's going to happen. It's only July 3rd, and we'll see how it goes. And now we get to the comments. Anson, the Leo Carlsson offer sheet is the craziest thing I've ever seen in hockey. GM matters, and people thought Sunny was cutthroat. I was stunned when I saw that. That is a declaration of war. And Leo Carlsson, at least for a brief time, will be the highest paid player in the league at $18 million a year, surpassing the current top of the mountain, the top of the food chain, Kirill Kaprizov at $17 million. He's going to get $18 million a year. 5-year deal, signs the offer sheet from the Flyers. Will be very interesting to see what happens there. Do the Ducks reluctantly, and they'll probably be a little aggravated about this, I'd imagine. GMs don't really like this. But Carlson's going to get $18 million a year, whether it comes from the Ducks or the Flyers. We shall find out. And it's going to be an interesting one. If the Ducks don't match, they get 4 first-round picks, which is quite a haul. But, out of those 4 first-round picks, can you then flip them for something equivalent to Leo Carlsson? If you end up drafting with them, can you? It's a tough situation to be in. Really tough situation to be in for the Ducks. Anson Meadows, Briere wants blood in a legit center for the Cutter Gauthier situation. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that they're related. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And then I forget, was it Chris Johnston? Somebody put out a tweet that they expected to see another offer sheet thrown out there. Then some people were speculating about other guys, but the offer sheet, maybe Sunny brought the offer sheet back. He set the wheels in motion. Traveling, what's going on? Fitz would be going into next season with last year's roster. I think he'd make minor changes, but I don't think he would have made any major ones. And I certainly don't think that he would have traded Markstrom. Just my opinion. John NJDevils, Grits talking about Newark was amazing. Kid is great. Hope he tears it up this year. Going to be a big opportunity for Grits. I do believe he's going to have a legitimate shot to claim one of those top 6 spots. But if not, I'd expect him to be a very productive third liner. But we're going to see what becomes for the sophomore season of Arseny Gritsuk. But go check out the media call with him, too. His interviews are great. Metalander with the USA 250. Very nice. Ritter Engine, no way we are rolling 4 goalies this whole season. So Sunny wants some competition between Daws and Rittich to see who stays and who goes to Utica. You meant 3. I'll be honest. I would be stunned if Dawes ends up in Utica. Like, I think he would have to play horribly. This is it. This is the sink or swim season. He was blocked, unfortunately, by, again, Allen and Markey had him blocked. I think most people probably thought he was going to get his shot this past season, with Allen likely signing somewhere else for a ton of money. Allen re-signs that team-friendly, blocks Dawes again. And this is really it now, in my opinion. And that's why I think the Devils and Sunny Mehta are looking at this like, this is Nicodaws net to lose. I think they're going to give him every opportunity to make it work. He's 25 years old. He'll turn 26 in December. If he doesn't, at least, I mean, again, if Rittich looks better than him at any point, then the Devils have bigger problems on their hands. But if Dawes does not look like he is capable of being an NHL starter this season, then I hate to say it, he probably never will be one. I mean, this is it. Do or die. Because the Devils kind of have to figure out going forward, at least for however long, assuming he stays with the team all of next season and is serviceable, maybe a year or two after that, really he could potentially have the starting job for kind of a while, because you got Big Mike in the mix. He'll eventually be pushing for a 1B spot on the Devils along with Jakob Malik. So I do think this is like his first big opportunity, and it could be his last, at least with the Devils, because there's other guys behind him. If it doesn't work out, what are they going to do for next year? So I do think this is pretty much a sink or swim situation. And I think the Devils plan on giving him a fairly long leash to see if he's up for the challenge. So Ace is late. Like, no, was it like 3 minutes late? My apologies, man. It's a rough crowd. Rough crowd. Michael says, I root for the Flyers second, so I don't mind them getting better. How is this even possible? I mean, no offense to you, Michael. This is a very, like, younger school, younger generation thing. How could you possibly, a division rival, as your second team? I think second teams in general are ridiculous, but like, if you want to pick a West Coast one, like, I could live with it a little more. But wow, the Flyers second, why not just pick the Rangers? John NJDevils says 18 million is wild. That's pretty wild. Anton says, if I was Anaheim, I'd take the picks. It's a tough spot to be in, because for the short term, the Ducks were kind of on the come up, right? Their trajectory was going up. You lose Carlson, you get the 4 picks. That's a massive step backwards. Unless you could somehow make some blockbuster move immediately using those picks, but I don't think that would happen. So Henderson says Moscow traffic is worse than NJ traffic. I was surprised to hear that, honestly, when he said that. Direwolf, I like us rolling 3 goalies. Gives Allen 15 games where he gets a night off and doesn't have to back up. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see Rittich too much, but we're going to find out. I believe he'll get some playing time, but I don't expect him to take any large chunk of the pie there. I do think Dawes is going to step up, and I think he's going to play a ton of games, but we're going to see. He's got to show it in camp and preseason and hold it down once he gets in there. Multiple votes for the red light. Wow. Everybody going red. Okay. Red. What's going on, Maria? She says red, white, and blue. It's only one color. Presify, my one thing is that we have 10 potential forwards that could play in the bottom 6 if you guys have to be shipped out. Yeah, I mean, a couple of them, or some of them will end up in Utica. I expect maybe some to be shipped out, and then the rest will stick with the big club. But it's only July 3rd. And when you look at the defense overall, I mean, this team could look pretty different. It might be one of the biggest changeovers from one season to the next in quite some time. Vecna Fitzgerald says, praying we get a top 6. I think Sunny will do it. I mean, with some of these moves he's making, it does seem like there could be something looming in the background, but who knows? And I hate to bring this up. But I have to. I don't think it's going to happen, but every day that goes by that the Quinn Hughes thing is not settled in Minnesota, it really makes me wonder if there's even a small possibility. I do think, and have predicted forever, as you guys know, that I think he stays in Minnesota, but like, what is taking so long? Furthermore, I don't think a day like today could really help your case if you're Minnesota trying to re-sign Quinn at something that's not backbreaking, right? I mean, if Leo Carlson's getting $18 million, what the hell is Quinn Hughes worth? I mean, I feel like you could make the argument for something completely outlandish. John NJDevil says, if Dawes-Allen tandem works, Sunny looks like a genius. Completely agree. Yeah, great move if it works out. If it works out, that is a massive, massive winning bet. Massive winning bet. Presify said we should sign Mantha. Very surprised no one has yet. I'm a bit surprised by that too, but you know what I guess he's probably pricing himself a little high, and teams might be weary to pay it. TJK says because nobody's risking overpaying for potential one-year wonder in Mantha. A lot of people seem to think that. Vecna, yeah, another offer sheet to you butchered his name too. Let me see. I think it's like Mintyukov. And Anaheim's under siege. Anaheim is under siege. Traveling, as long as he doesn't look super shaky, it seems like, again, this is just speculation, but Sunny talked about him very glowingly, understood that he has been a good prospect. His path was jammed up. And given his age and everything else, it does seem like this is kind of a do or die season for him. And I think they're going to give him every opportunity to win the net. Gleason, anyone who thinks we're getting a top six isn't following the clues. We'll use the team we have now. The team we have with no shakeups in the top six, and most people will be happy like it's an entirely new situation. I don't think most people will. I think most people still want to see that top six player added. And there's still plenty of time to do it. But obviously there is a chance that they go into the season without adding one. TJK says, I agree. If it is a last resort option, if no trade is available for a top six winger, I think Sunny would rather enter the season without one and wait until the deadline. I've with all the picks, it seems like the table is set to make a big splash. Corbin Barrels, we finally have the depth we've been needing now. If anyone gets injured, it's not going to be the end of the world. Hopefully. All right, sorry, guys. I'm super behind. What's going on, Justin? What's up, Rabid Monkeypox? Cisco Kid, hit the like. Thank you. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Tim Frith with his preposterous trade proposals. Should the Devils trade Jake Allen, Seamus Casey, Shane LeChance, Cam Squires, and the 27 and 28 second runners to the Leafs for Anthony Stolars and Tynas Luke Koblar? I think your longest trade proposal was like 20 players one time. I think it was a three-way deal. It was a very creative three-way deal. Come on with this. $18 million for Carlson's crazy. Crazy. And I'm still very curious to see if Utah is going to match Sunny's offer sheet, or if they're just going to let that. If they're just going to let that go. That would be. Yeah, if Barrett Hayden ends up a Devil, that's another decent ad. Not the big splash everyone was looking for, but I think it could have more of an impact than it seems in the moment with all the other small little tweaks. Presify, all in all, Sunny's doing a great job so far. Much more. TJK, I think after we determine the offer sheet on Hayden, we go from there. We dump Dylan, Nason, and Bukestad and use Mercer as a trade piece for a legit top-line winger. It's possible. Traveling, probably better to wait on the top six player till the season, see how the players they got respond to the new season, and work on something big if change is needed. Slow play it. It could be. It could be. You never know what Sunny's thinking, but the one thing you do know is he's looking for value anywhere he can find it. Gleason, offseason positivity has gone full force, relying now on guys who have never been in the NHL playing on a non-playoff team. This is the depth that'll overcome no top six. I mean, Gleason, it's not no top six. I mean no top six ed. I mean, they have a top four. They have a top four. Can Grits be a legitimate top six guy? I think he can. I know if they try to put Mercer up there, some of you people will riot. If this was not the offseason, this would be just miss the Devils and being hopeful. Rabid monkeypox. I think the Devils need real depth in the AHL. Every time someone is injured, the AHL call-up is a pure waste. I mean, the farm has been depleted. It's been pretty bad due to a combination of just poor drafting, poor development. But Sunny is looking to change that. He obviously, again, got active in the draft, picked up 2 extra picks on day 2, so they drafted 7 guys. Including number 12 overall, Alexander Command. And if you guys are like real hockey junkies, I know some of you are, and maybe not everyone's a super hockey junkie, but I shared the link the other day for the first day of development camp. Alexander Command did not skate that day, but he did skate. He did participate in the skills competition on day 2. Check that out if you want to see some of those guys. Some of those kids looked very good. Potential New Jersey Devils of the future. I put the link in the chat for that as well. Calming loops. If Devils go with Daws now, they are saving tremendously on the cap, gives them an opening to get a top 6 scoring forward. Yeah, I think that's what most people are hoping for with the savings. Walter Krunk, a top 6 with Hughes, Bratt, Grits, Heischer, Meyer, and Brown, along with some major shakeups in the bottom 6 will go a long way. I think that's the most optimistic view of it all. And that could happen. And again, a long way meaning what? Like definitely a playoff team. Are they going to be true contenders with that? Anything could happen. If a goalie gets hot, the team gets hot, anything can happen. But I do think health for Jackhughes obviously is number 1. But you also look at, Timo with a down year last year. Can he have a big bounce back? Can the bottom 6 as a whole contribute anything? Does Luke Hughes take another step? Could Luke Hughes take a big step forward this season? There's a lot of things that if even a few of them go right, this team could be pretty damn good. And with the weapons available at the deadline, can there be a big splash made going into the playoffs? David Chimes says the bottom 6 looks great, not merely average. Rodriguez, huge ad. I'm curious if he ever gets a look in the top 6 on wing. What do you think, David? I could see a brief trial. TJK never wanted to overpay assets and cap for a big-name goalie. We have to calm down. The Canes won a cup with a trio of Bussy, Kachekov, and Anderson. All 3 had sub-900 save percentage in the regular season. The Canes are a different animal, though. The Canes are a different animal. Michael, the $3.9 million is massive win only if you capitalize on another needed position. Saving money helps owners, not the roster. Well, Michael, I'm assuming they're going to be a cap team. If they go into the season and are not a cap team, then something is awry. But obviously, I completely agree. If the savings is not used on other positions, then what the hell was the savings for? Totally agree with you. No one would care about the savings if it's not reinvested into other positions, but I think it ultimately will be at some point. Alan says, Ace, the sad part about this is all the moves Sunny is making is not going to matter because I still say Keefe is one of the big problems and he'll be gone by Christmas, the New Year. I'm going to disagree with you, but we'll see. I mean, if the Devils don't look like they're doing what they got to do at some point, I do think Sunny would make the change, but I am expecting a more consistent season from this team. Again, if the injuries happen and it's just like, the reoccurring nightmare film, if that happens, then all bets are off. But assuming that does not happen, I think they might surprise some people. We're going to have to wait and see. You either trust the Sunny Mehta vision or you don't. Ford 20 Texas, I'm glad not all of Jersey has lost power. I've lost power at least once in the past week. It must have been when I was sleeping, so I woke up and all the things were reset. TJK, Sunny is working to build a better roster. Canes had an elite team in front. Sunny has already began making massive roster changes. We just need a top 6 forward. Paging a top 6 winger. Justin Smith, the other 2 goalies will take the pressure off of Jake Allen. Gleason, Sunny can bet the goalies all he wants, which is fine. Goalies are crazy. He's also betting on the offense fixing itself by adding Erod and losing Nemitz goals. Where's the NHL scoring added? Well, you're not going to want to hear this, but they're going to tell you that, or conventional wisdom would say, a healthy Jack Hughes and an improved Jack Hughes. Not only a healthy Jack Hughes, but I think you're going to see a better Jack Hughes this season. And I'm expecting a career year from him. I really am expecting a career year from Jack Hughes. I think you're going to see the first 100-plus point New Jersey Devils season. And again, Timo has to have a bounce back season. Does Luke take a step forward? Nico could potentially chip in a little bit more. Michael says it didn't have to be a big name goalie, but at least someone proven. Do you have no faith in Dawes, Michael? TJK 23-24 had bad goaltending, but keep in mind Fitz let it sink. It's way to no coming back to the deadline. If the team sinks from goaltending, Sunny's 1,000% going to make a move to fix it. I believe anything that's a glaring issue that's clearly obvious, and even ones that maybe are not so obvious to the public, but that goaltending in 23-24, literally every time they were on a national broadcast, the national broadcast team would talk about how the Devils' goaltending was so bad and when are they going to get a goalie? Like literally every national broadcast, like everyone knew. And he said he hoped it was going to fix itself. It never did. Then he got Jake Allen and Kakinen on deadline day when it was way too late. Like I do not think you will see anything remotely resembling that from Sunny Mehta. I believe once there's an obvious problem, he is going to move swiftly to fix it. I don't think he's going to let the team drown. Again, this is just speculation, but I think this is a lot of PFSD kind of manifesting itself because you folks have been accustomed to a certain way of maneuvering and, you know, it maybe makes clouds the judgment a little bit. Travlin says this isn't a team that is going to be fixed in one off season. It's true. Rick Corkum, if the team is playing well, the goalies will play well. If the goalies could stop the floaters. Walter says Quinn Hughes is looking at the Carlson deal and will 100% try to bleed the Wild for $20 million. Man, that would be crazy. I wonder, and then I started to wonder, like, was that part of him not signing it yet because he knew some of these other big name guys were going to get deals, so they wanted to wait? But my God, I mean, I think Elliot Friedman, I think it was Elliot, I think a few days ago speculated that if he signs the 3-year deal, it'll be like 17 or 18 million. But wow, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Kyle, I could see that going either way. I just don't know enough about Utah's inner workings to know. I could definitely see it going either way. The thing about it is, like, the second round pick as compensation is not great. Like, it's not a great, you know, would they have traded him for a second round pick? I would think probably not, but who knows? I'm sure they're having those conversations now, and they're probably going to notify the league or whatever the procedure there is at the last possible moment. So what is there, like 4 days left, maybe 5 days? David Chime says Leo Carlson has better scoring stats than McKinnon, Draisaitl, and Kucherov at his age. The price isn't as insane as some think. Captain, can people justify, you know, the cap keeps going up. His trajectory is super high. But it's crazy. We're going to see the 20 million very, very soon from somebody. Michael, Dawes is a gamble, but happy making it. Not going to know what we have in him until you try it. Better to try to move on if it doesn't work out versus losing him and having success elsewhere. They're going to have to give him his shot at some point, and it seems like this is the season. Make or break. Artie says July 3rd and no Quinn deal. We all know if he really wanted to stay with the Wild, it would have happened already. Minnesota did nothing. July 1st, something is up. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see how that pans out. If he was waiting to try to get more money, I don't know. David Chimes' great sign is that no one held out on the contract negotiations on the big team, and Nico extended early day one. Yeah, that deal was already done well in advance of July 1, and they announced it like immediately. Amagi, what's up, Ace? Can't wait to see the goalie situation. What's going on, man? Also, Rittich is a one-way contract, isn't he? I don't think he could be sent down to Utica. No, he can be sent down to Utica. He would just have to clear waivers, which I'd imagine he probably would. But he'd have to clear waivers, and he's still going to get his full $1 million pay. But he can be sent to Utica. Hit the thumbs up. Dylan Mercer, Casey Dawes, the 2 firsts from the Nemitz deal for Helly. Oh, you guys are still on this? It's not going to happen, my man. I think Rittich all but closed it. I mean, listen, if they were going to, I just can't see it. I just can't see it on so many levels. Supposedly they wanted a ton from Buffalo for him. The analytics gurus like Sunny typically will not invest that big chunk of the cap on a goaltender, so I just can't see it. I just can't see it at all. Man, you're willing to give all that, though, huh? Dylan Mercer and Casey. Yeah, it's an interesting package. I just can't see it. Michael says, Big Mike is the future. Sonny knows that right now. Dawes has no value, so giving him this shot is a way to potentially give him value. If he proves himself, then moving him will yield a return. But even if he performs, I don't think, he has 2 years left. Like, I really don't think Big Mike is coming to the NHL at a minimum before the 28-29 season. I think 2 more, like, he's playing in BU this year. I think at the quickest you'd see BU this year, Utica next year, then the Devils. Maybe he skips the AHL jump, but I think they will try to avoid that at all costs. And so I don't think they're going to thrust Big Mike into the starting role right away. So Dawes could be around for a while if this experiment pans out. Is Blake Coleman good? Yeah, he's pretty good. Troy Machine, when Allen came over, he didn't like being a part of a trio in Montreal. Said he gets too rusty when he sits too long. Yeah, I remember that. I honestly don't believe you're really going to see a true trio here. Like, I think Rittich is going to play in these random spots. Maybe back-to-backs to give, Allen a rest, or maybe he'll dress as a backup on some nights to Dawes if they want to give Allen the night off. But I don't think he's going to start that many games, if I'm being honest. Helly and Quinn. Add Robertson to the list, too. Quinn stays in Minnesota. I think so. Devils Army for life. Pressure starting to build on Billy G in the Wild. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I originally thought it would have been done definitely by now. We're an hour and a half away from 4th of July. You guys do anything exciting for the 4th of July? I think it's going to be raining in New Jersey, which kind of sucks. Sonny described Dawson in the same way he described Nemitz. Cutter probably says I scored 40. I'll take 5 times 18 too. Thanks. Yeah, guys are going to start asking for crazy pays. Dire Wolf, there's no shot Sonny overpays for Mantha. Whoever gives him a bag will regret it within 2 years. I think his projected cap hit was like, I want to say it's like high 5s or 6. Are you talking about in terms of like having a path? Yeah, it was. He gave an interesting kind of I don't know if you want to call it story, but perspective into Shimo Nemitz. He said he just wanted a path for the role that he saw, and we all thought this. Like, he didn't necessarily ask for a trade out, but I do think he was frustrated by essentially being blocked by Dougie and Luke Hughes for power play time and all that stuff. So he just wanted a bigger role, and it wasn't going to happen right now with the Devils, and they moved on. I'm watching Mount Rushmore. 18. Oh man, meat on the bone. Let's see. I'm gonna go. I I would say for 18 mil, the meat on the bone is literally, I don't even know if there's a bone left. I'm going to give that a solid 5. That thing was scraped spotless. 18 million, it was scraped spotless. The highest paid player in the league, yeah, nah. There is absolutely no meat left on that bone for Leo Carlsson's the deal. That is a 5. And maybe even 8 half the bone itself. 0 meat left. Justin Smith says the problem is we don't know what we're getting from Dawes. We know what the other 2 goalies can do. Well, that's the point of having the third guy, Rittich, as what I believe to be insurance, but we don't know, and that is why it's a bet. That is why it is a calculated bet by Sunny Mehta. Calculated bet. They ran the numbers. They're like, you know what? We're going to try it. We're going to try it and see how it goes. Cole says, if Carlsson goes 5 by 18, God knows what a robo sheet looks like. I think some people were speculating that we might see one of those. Someone try it for Robertson, but man, it's just tough. But it's like, yo, guys, Jackhughes is signed for $8 million. He's probably dying inside seeing some of these deals, but he's gonna be crazy paid on his next deal. By then, I'm sure he'll probably be over 20. Yeah, that far down the line. The Robertson situation is a very interesting one too. Auto Fire 80 Grits can definitely be top 6. South Fork Yeti, I think if Barrett Hayden becomes a Devil, that means Mercer is gone. I don't think it necessarily means that, but I do think it makes him somewhat more expendable. But I also think, again, that you get good value out of him at $4 million. I don't think Sunny is going to trade him just to trade him. I don't think so. Half Naked Frankenstein, it's sick to hear you asking questions in the media availability, by the way. Congrats on the gig. You're carrying the torch. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's pretty wild, actually. But Gleason, I think there's a lot of assuming that Hayden isn't just an easy match for Utah, because why not? I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. If they really want to do it, they'll figure out a way. But yeah, it's. I think a week is because you're allowed to go over the cap in the summer. I feel like there's no good reason to give teams a week to decide. But Auto Fire 80, I do like the fact that we are now running Alan Dawes. Dawes deserves the backup. I think Dawes ends up playing the most games of any goalie. I think the Jake Allen ceiling is around that 35 game mark. So we're going to see how it shakes. Maybe Allen gets hot and he plays a stretch. I like riding the hot hand. Ride the hot hand. Vecna Fitzgerald, who's your realistic top 6 get? DeBrincat, Bushnevich? I'm not a DeBrincat guy. Come on, man. You should know that. You should know that. I don't know. I would say probably a name that hasn't been out there, essentially, because I don't think there's many names out there that would be a great fit. The guy that I've heard nothing about, he's probably not available, but they should inquire on him, is Tyler Bertuzzi. Man, Tyler Bertuzzi in the top 6. Let's go. Talk about sandpaper that could skilled sandpaper. He's been high on my want list for a while. I think he'd be a great fit. Who do we bump up if we trade Mercer? I mean, bump up. What do you mean bump up? I think there's a good chance that Mercer does not start in the top 6. I think it very well could be Grits and Connor Brown filling out those other 2 top 6 spots outside of the core. John NJDevils 45 sounds like Erod is a strong leader in the locker room. Sunny knows that room is bad. Winning cures all. Winning cures all, and he talked about that too. He said, because someone asked about culture, and he said it was like the chicken or the egg, right? He said, does good culture breed winning, or does winning breed culture? And he said he thinks it's a little bit of both. And I think it's true to some extent. Winning cures everything. And he also talked about how the guys, the current Devils are just kind of fed up with losing, and it's like taking a toll on them, and it's terrible. He said, if we start winning, the culture is going to be great. And it's true. Now you got to go out there and perform. The culture will rise with the team. And I think Rodriguez will be a big help on and off the ice for this club. Championship pedigree, back-to-back cups with the Panthers. Sonny obviously knows him pretty good, being there together for a few years in Florida. And so he's going to be another interesting one to watch this season, to see what the Erod effect is on the Devils. The Devils Army for life. To be honest, don't love. We're rolling with Daws now, and we have no clue if Daws can handle the bulk of an 84-game season. Allen is good as a backup, but seems like he gets burnt out with a big workload. Yeah, and I think that's why there's now 3 goalies, and you kind of figure it out. But I'm fully expecting them to give Daws a legitimate crack to claim the throne. We'll see if he's up for the challenge or not. Autofire 80, I think we still need some work on our bottom 6. We'll see. We will see. It's July 3rd, guys. But the team is slowly starting to take shape in Sonny's vision. 141. Hey, Ace, love seeing you get the first question in the pressers. Always solid questions. Are doing a great job. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Justin, everyone knows right now the Devils have 3 goalies in the roster, not just Allen and Daws. I think we went over it in the beginning. I don't know if they missed it, but I think most people are just kind of dismissing him. But I'm not expecting him to play a lot. I'm being honest. But he might. If Daws falls apart, but I think they're really going to give him every chance to make it happen. Autofire 80, our goaltending is a wild card at the moment. I wish we could get Yegorov time in the NHL, but I know he's an NCAA guy. He's super young. It's going to take some time. They're not going to rush these guys, especially goalies. Allen, Ace, some people are talking about getting rid of Dylan, but in all seriousness, who the hell would we have? It's a muscle. I know Meyer can be a beast, but he's not there to be that kind of muscle. Yeah, I mean, listen, you guys, I've talked about Brendan Dillon a ton. I think he's a tremendous asset to the team on and off the ice, and he does have that mean streak and grittiness that no one else has. If they do move him, I would think that they should be looking to bring in that element elsewhere. At least a guy. That would be a big loss in more ways than one, in my opinion. Jorge says Hughes gets shut down if they slightly push him. We need Robo. The Robo is a pipe dream, man. Autofire 80. The fact Sonny managed the Markstrom trade, he is a magician. We needed to strip Palat and Markstrom's contract. That is huge. TJK says, even if Hayden comes here, Robo is possible if done right. Clear Dillon, Nason, and Bukestad and use Mercer as a trade piece. We'd have enough cap to afford Robo. Dilly's like what, around 4? Yeah, I mean, that would, I can't do the math exactly in my head, but that does about add up. But you're talking about trading multiple guys and likely in multiple different deals, but it is possible. I just feel like he's ultimately going to stay in Dallas. South Fork Yeti, the start of the Wild's offseason has been pretty bad. I'm curious if Quinn is holding off now after seeing all stuff going on this far. It could be a variety of things. He could want to see what else is going on with the roster, or he could have just been waiting for someone like Leo Carlson to get an $18 million offer sheet, so now he could ask for even more. Andrew Luca, never happy. The status quo lives on in New Jersey. It's July 3rd, sir. July 3rd. Auto Fire says you paid Nico 11.7 mil. I even said if we lose Nico, I'm done. He wanted to be here. I have a feeling he could be a lifer. David Chimes, keep in mind, Sunny did at least call the Jets on heli per week. Probably just probing, but it's not like he's not keeping options open. He was probably, just doing his due diligence to see what the price tag would be. Did Weeks ever actually report that? I don't recall seeing that. But he said, Sunny did say that it's a painting and it's never finished. The team is a painting and never finished. Always looking to improve wherever possible. Dire Wolf says, ideally, Allen starts 35, 40 games. Dawes gets 30. Rittich the rest. So what's that, 70? And that would give Rittich like 14. I could see something like that. But if I had to bet, and it's a vote of confidence in Dawes, I would flip the Dawes Allen numbers. Could be a bold prediction. But I think Dawes is really going to get a chance to show what he's got. But I could see something like that. I mean, that's still 14 for Rittich. Still kind of heavy, but Calming Loops, I just want Sunny to make a trade for a big scoring winger to get us over the hump. I'm aware it will be expensive, but gotta have balls. We've previously made trades, but none were for a big name. You want the superstar, huh? I don't think that's going to happen until either the season or next offseason. But it's still only July 3rd. David Chimes says 100% Drew on ideal rotation. Zach, I love the offer sheet. This is exciting. Calming Loops, we need to have the mindset that we need to win now. We can't afford to not be good again. Well, what is your definition of not be good? I do think this will be a playoff team at a minimum, and I think they can win a round or two, as is right now. With a couple extra pieces, I think it could be bigger than that. But will we see the ads? Krislad, after what happened today, Philly better watch their backs for a sheet for Michkov. It's gonna Then play on pictures. My sister met Jack Hughes at the Parker house the other day. He was super cool and approachable. No Quinn sighting, though. Yeah. Jersey Shore kids. David Chimes, Rittich was so great in LA 2 seasons ago. He almost took their starter job. Had a bad season the next year, then bounced back a little at the Isles last year. Not terrible. Rabin Monkeypox says Rittich steals the starter job. Really? That would be quite a story. Grits or Brown would be a good pick. I would think Grits. Chris Ladd, hey Ace, considering the picks we have in there on rebuild, what do you think about going after Brock Besser? I feel like he's been a name that people have thrown around for years too. I don't know. Well, now with these crazy contracts, let me see something. What is his contract? It's almost like anyone who signed a deal a long time ago is a value because of what these guys are getting paid in the new cap climate. Besser 7.25. I mean, oh wow. 7.25. When did he sign this? Oh, it was last summer. At 7.25, I'd probably it's definitely worth kicking the tires on. David chimes, I think we use Rodriguez as 3C, so Nico and Timo don't have as many D-zone starts, but his grit and wicked one-timer with Jack and Brat could be sick. Chimes, what do you think? What do you think if the Hayden sheet goes through? I'm assuming that you would agree that Rodriguez moves to wing, and then someone threw out like, oh, does this mean they could trade Cody Glass? I mean, hypothetically, it does, but I think that would be a mistake. But there's lots of options in that world if the sheet goes through. If that sheet goes through, Yankees finally won. Now I'm here. Oh, you're talking about baseball? TJK, teams have wanted Mercer, him, and multiple first-round picks. If we have gotten can get it done, Casey can be added in the mix too. Well, who are you guys talking about here? I lost track. Is this still Robertson pipe dreams? Gleason says, I'll say something positive to be balanced here. Rittich is a great buy low guy. He played very well despite the save percentage playing low. This is what analytics could do for you occasionally. It's a super analytic world now. And Sunny is going to make decisions like this and make bets. Like you said, make bets. I'm very curious. Wouldn't it be crazy if Lombardi just like tears it up in the bottom six? Peyton Bratton says the only other tough guy we got is Johnny if they move Dylan, referring to Mr. Kovacevic. Yeah, and I do think it's. I don't want to say it's a huge difference, but Dilly's a throwback warrior. That'll make him like Dilly anymore. Autofire Nico is the man, my favorite jersey. Moose Man, keep in mind, most of the teams in the Eastern Conference got better this offseason. This is true. John NJDevils, where's Ace partying on July 4th celebrating this great country? My little nephew asked me if I was going to go to the fireworks with them. But I think it's, let me just double check something. I think the weather's good. Oh my God. It's like raining for the next 10 years. I'm looking at a 10-day forecast right now, and every single day is rain except for Thursday. How is this even possible? Thursday's the only nice day. It's terrible. Andrew Luca, how can a fan be happy? Terrible goalie situation and still a gaping hole in the top six. Seems like Fitz never left. Man. I would say I could understand the frustration with the top six probably a bit more than the goalie situation. I do think that Nicodaws could have the stuff that he could be a legitimate starter. We just don't know. So I understand how it's an uneasy feeling going into the season the way that they are in net. But like I said earlier, if it seems like the experiment is not working out, I think Sunny would quickly pivot to address and fix the situation. The Met Jet Devil guy, why does the NHL wait so long to release the schedule? I'd like to start mapping out what tickets I'm going to buy around my work schedule. I really don't like how long they wait to release this. I mean, in fairness, I wish it came out the day after the Cup, but, it is a lot of logistics. And again, I would love to see how they even do this to coordinate all these arenas with the other shows and basketball teams and travel and all the shit. It must be the craziest thing ever. But usually it's mid-July, so it's probably within the next 2 weeks. One of my favorite days of the year when the schedule comes out to kind of just figure out what's going on when the first time they're playing the Rangers, the first time there's any other interesting matchups. Public service announcement. Actually, I'll just wait till the schedule comes out. It'll be part of the schedule. I always do a schedule preview, either live or video when the schedule comes out, and that should be in the next couple weeks. Zach says, Timo was that big scoring winger. That was a huge mistake. Any chance we can get rid of ourselves of underperforming Timo? People have been down on Timo for quite some time. I get it. He had a down year, but he's been used pretty differently here than he was in San Jose. And I'd imagine some teams would be interested in him if the Devils look to trade him. I think it would be a mistake because then you're talking about getting rid of your only real bull in the top six. I think it would be, go back and watch some of that Rangers series from 2023. And despite I believe he didn't register a point. Despite not having a point, he was active and very involved in the series, just smashing guys. He was in Shesterkin's face. Like he played a big part in that first round and didn't score a point, but just with the way he plays the game. Alan says, Ace, very curious. Do you think the Devils have hit rock bottom yet after last year, or do you think we have a few years left before we are winners again? I really hope last year was it. I mean, what is your definition of winner? As long as Jack stays healthy, I firmly believe they're in the playoffs. Now, how far could they get? But I firmly believe they're a playoff team. Zach says, Connor from Winnipeg, make a blockbuster deal for Helly and Connor. I was never a huge Kyle Connor guy. I don't know why. I don't know. Good player. That would be, what is his contract? Let's see. They're not getting Hellebuck. There's just no way. Oh yeah, that's why. That was one of the reasons. 12 million bucks. And his contract kicks. It was. When did he sign this? In October. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're looking to move him, and I don't think the Devils would be interested. Gleason says, I support the crazy Rittich steals the starter job narrative. Interesting. But I think, aren't you a little biased? I think you're slightly biased. Yeah. You're definitely biased, Gleason. I believe you're Czech. Are you not? Gleason, are you Czech? I love it. Everyone's always so biased to their nationality for players. It makes sense. Yeah, Roman Czechmonic. I forgot. So of course you're like, hey, Rittich is stealing that job. Totally deserves it. Kyle PW, Dawes is going to have a breakout year and surprise a lot of people. He's been wanting this opportunity for a long time. That's what I think is going to happen. That's my prediction. It could be totally wrong. He could get the chance and flop and end up in Utica. I don't think it happens. It could. I don't think it happens. I think he grabs the reins and runs with it, but we're going to see. Oh, what are you guys throwing out? Crazy trade proposals? Hamilton, Dawson, Hamilton, Dawes, Mercer, and 3 firsts. And Timo. Is this? I'm so lost. Is this for Hellebuck? The Met Devil guy, I think last year was rock bottom. The contrast in play before and after the Chicago game where Nemeth scored the Hattie in OT and had Frank the Tank dinner accident was unreal. David Chimes, Hayden could play wing too. I can't keep up with the possibilities. Glad it's Keith's decision, not mine. I think he's supposed to be a good face-off guy. Evan says, do you think the roster is set or will Sunny make moves? They might not be major moves, but I think there's got to be a few more trades throughout the summer. There's a lot of defensemen under contract. There's some, it seems like, extraneous pieces for the bottom 6. Gleason says, Hayden should definitely be a center, though. He's there to take those draws and free up Nico to be a better play driver. Taking some of the load off Nico would be huge. It would be absolutely huge. And then maybe we see a little pop in the Nico offensive production. Take care, auto fire. Then play on pictures. Erod with Mercer on the wing could be a great third line. Then put Glass 4th center. Yeah, but if Hayden comes, where does that kind of, you would think? Yeah, there's so many possibilities. It's crazy. David Chimes, Dilly had strong 5-on-5 numbers last season. His PK game was weak. Wouldn't call his career cooked yet. Alan Ace, I know we were both in agreement about how we feel about Mercer, but what is it that others can't see about him the way they do? It's just that they're expecting more. That he's a bottom 6 player. They want him to be a top 6 player, and once it became obvious that he was just not that, at least at this point in time, and he's still pretty young considering, what is he, 25 or 26? They turned on him when he wasn't putting up 70 points. He's 24. He turns 25 in October. Okay. I mean, it could happen for him somewhere else. I just don't think he's ever going to be a legit top 6 guy here. But very valuable. All situation guy. High energy. I've defended him forever. I have scars from the stab wounds of defending Dawson Mercer. Rittich stat, Calgary 2019 season, 27-9-5. Yeah, that's cute. .261, but we're talking about 8 years ago. If I started rattling off stats about myself from 8 years ago, we're talking about a different world. Ethan, Ace, call me crazy, but I brought my Utica home opener game, flying into Syracuse, then taking the 70-minute bus ride over to Utica. Don't feel like driving up. What? And flying into Syracuse. Flying into Syracuse from where? We've been down the road of seeing if the goalie situation will work out. It's not that simple to just grab a goalie midseason. Still 2 huge issues that this organization is still failing to fix. No, I get it, but you have a little bit of PFSD. And you're letting that kind of influence how you're looking at this. I agree that you're like, this still isn't fixed and it's another hope and wish. It is. But the difference is, if it doesn't work out, I fully believe Sunny Mehta will be able to fix it. And while you could say it's not that simple to grab a goalie, it kind of is. It kind of is. If you actually try, just because Fitz was like, oh, I tried, it takes 2 to tango, and blah, 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 and all these other things that he said, the Avalanche revamped their entire tandem, a year to whatever it was ago, when they got rid of their goalies. It was a Kemper and somebody else, and they brought in 2 former New Jersey Devils, Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood. Bang! They whole new tandem in the same season. Or maybe it was, I think it was the same season. You could definitely get a goalie. It's not this impossibility that Tom Fitzgerald convinced you that it was. David Chime says 9 guys on our current pro roster have contracts expiring at the end of next season. Why Sunny is picking up older prospects like Lombardi and Chisholm, good idea. Yeah, he's looking down the line. I'm sure they probably have like a board of, where they see opportunity for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And with some of those contracts coming off and the cap going up, I haven't looked at the free agency class. I think I glanced at it the other day. It didn't look great, but you still need cap space if you're going to try to make trades and stuff and accommodate some of these guys. Options are good to have. We have 36 million cap next year. Amagi, that goal against Florida is my favorite team I'll highlight. It's definitely one of the nicest or nicer Devils goals of the past few seasons for sure. You're talking about when he was just bullying people down low. And then does he one-hand finish? I forget. I remember it was a sick. I talked about it for a while after it happened. How has the overall negativity been tonight? Very tolerable. I would say it wasn't crazy bad. A couple comments, but nothing hardcore. They said, no, I'm not Czech. That would be sick, though. Okay. Plain old Irish Italian from New Jersey. All right. I thought because the Czechmonic thing, I'm like, wait a minute. Czechmonic. I know Rittich is Czech. The Met Jet Devil guy, where would you rank New Jersey's depth at the moment compared to the rest of the league? Feel like these recent moves push us closer to the top. I think that's a stretch. To the top. I mean, look at some of these teams like the Floridas of the world and I don't know. They're definitely in the. I mean, the reality is, if you're talking about a guy like Lombardi who's never played an NHL game, potentially being in the bottom 6, they're definitely, I would think, in the top half of the league and maybe higher than that. But it's definitely improved. But let's just see how it plays out. Does Boquist stick? I would like to think he does, but there's also a chance that he doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of there's going to be some competition for some spots. Yeah, I don't like the change. Roman Czechmonic is just a funny goalie from the 90s. But now it shows your real YouTube username, so I'm back to Gleason. I know, I can see the picture. Yeah, we talked about this. It's expensive. You always drive into Utica because you could drive out of Utica. I haven't been to Utica in a while. I always fly from Newark to Boston. I think I've flown to Boston once. I typically drive there. I think there was one time I flew there. I can't remember why. Because the thing is, for Boston, I just look at like total time and basically like, oh, now you got, get to the airport early and the flight is super short. What is it, like 40 minutes, 45 minutes? But between going to the airport, going through all that hassle, getting fondled by TSA, and then you go through and then you wait and then you get on the plane and then you deplane. The whole process is probably not much. Total time door to door is probably not much faster than driving. I drove to my buddy's house over there, I don't know, a few months back, and it was like 4 hours. Doug, sometimes goalies emerge from nowhere. Got to take a chance sometimes, and it's not insane to give Daws the shot when he's been in the pipeline for years. Fitz was never going to give Daws the shot. I do think he was gonna, but then the Jake Allen deal came out of nowhere. I do think it was going to be Markey and Daws for this past season if Allen left to sign somewhere else. Amagi, yeah, Timo kicked the puck while pushing through 2 dudes and one-handed into the back of the net. Yeah, it was crazy. Sunny can come in and not only repair the relationship with Nico, but can also give Daws his rightful shot, and Daws can emerge as a true starter. I think so. Gleason said, I remember last year Amanda Stein was going around asking all the players about our improved depth. I was like Juho Lamico signed to an everyday player. Yeah, it was remember the days. The Dowlings, the Lamicos. Dr. PG, I watched a Hayton highlight package from the Mammoth YouTube page. He's always sticking his nose in the dirty areas. Net front and getting tips and rebounds. He seems to have an underrated passing game. I watched some highlights too. Yeah, what day did they do that? I'm trying to figure out when the news will hit. Yeah, so I guess the 8th, July 8th, we must find out. Did the sheet work or not? The Met Jet Devil guy, I'm a get in the car and drive kind of guy. Plane got to be 700 miles. 700's a big boy number. I'm definitely getting in a plane well short of that. You're talking about what's like a 9-10 hour drive? That's a lot. I've done some crazy drives in my life. That I'm just really depressed. Is it really raining for the next 10 days? Holy. TJK Mercer got to go. Otherwise, Sheldon Keefe going to keep putting him in the top 6, forcing Timo at left wing. Maybe not. Maybe not. I have TSA pre-check. I always show up 1 hour before boarding, never earlier. And has that always worked out for you? Jason, our depth is definitely better, but the top 6 is still incomplete. For sure. Paging a top 6 winger for what feels like years and years now. I think it eventually comes. I just can't tell you when. How did you forget about Lamico? Jason, no, your top 6 carries you through a season. Your depth is what really wins in the playoffs. Would be nice to see the bottom 6 chipping in points regularly. It would be nice. Damn. So you guys have any good plans for 4th of July? No more Mercer on Nico's wing. I think next year the deadline. Don't you have power too, or are you on your phone? Ethan, I've never missed a flight ever. It brings me joy wearing my Devils jersey in other NHL arenas. What arenas have you gone to recently? Oh, my back. Yeah, do we have any road trippers in here? Any of you guys planning some road trips to go see the Devils this year? I might try to. Saw Devils at Boston just before Christmas this past season. Always love Boston. Talked about that a bunch. The North End is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Ethan says Detroit, Boston, Texas, and I love the Panthers arena. I saw the Devils at the Joe Louis Arena forever ago. And I've been to several games at TD Garden in Boston. Never been to Dallas or a Panthers game. Justin says I've never seen the Devils play live. Justin, where do you live? But a smooth. Might go again this season. Family of a friend out there. Very nice. Amagi, going to try and see the Islanders versus Devils at UBS next season rather than just a random Islanders game. It's been on my list ever since UBS opened, but when I see the when every time I've ever put it in the GPS, it's like it's apparently like it's a whole undertaking to get there, which is a bit of a deterrent, but I probably will make it this year, I think. And I think they have some preseason games there too. One of the rookie games I think is at their practice rink. Let me see this. I can't find it now. It's in September. I'll have to look for it later. Ethan says, my brother works for United, so I get free airfare. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Jay Snow, as much as I love the Devils, I'm not buying into any preseason hype. They need to prove it this year. That is a totally fair assessment. When do bring in? I don't know what that is. Match that Devil guy went to UBS for Devils Islanders this year. Probably the worst decision of my life. Are you referring to the 9-0 beatdown? Every year since 22-23, they've been overhyped and overrated. It's true. Nick, can you explain how Timo is used differently on the Sharks? I hear that a lot. He played right wing. He's been playing left wing in New Jersey. But the biggest difference, and some people will tell you the wing thing doesn't matter. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm not. And power play one time. He was a staple on the power play there, and a lot of his damage, his production came on the power play. Without getting power play time, he's never going to produce at the same level. It's just not going to happen. And then on top of that, I would say is like Timo was the guy for those times on the Sharks, or at least was a bigger guy than he is now, kind of with all the other weapons the Devils have. So he was on a deeper team now. He's used different. People thought he was going to be like an 80-point guy too. I think if he could produce 60 points, I think that would be a win, given all the other things he does. NJ Skater Dan, I go to Nashville every year. Nashville is an amazing city. Amazing city. I went there this year. I drove around midnight Friday night, saw a small gig in the morning, saw the Devils Saturday night. Played a small gig in the morning, saw the Devils Saturday night, drove home after arriving the AM on Sunday. Wow. Joseph says, when do we bring in Salayev and Yegorov? I think they're both ready. Big Mike is definitely not. He's playing in college this year, and I'd imagine probably in the AHL for a year after that. Salayev's going to be in camp. And I do think, I originally thought he was a lock to be in the AHL. I still think it's likely that he ends up in Utica, but there is a chance he could crack the lineup. If he looks great, I think there is a chance he could crack the lineup, but it is more likely to end up in Utica. I don't think he'll be there for more than a season, though. Madison Square Garden is an amazing place. Madison Square Garden is an amazing place. Over the years, I've seen a ton of hockey games there. I've seen a couple basketball games there, concerts, UFC, boxing. Madison Square Garden, despite their being home of the New York Rangers, is a magical building. Joseph says that's the same thing with Citi Field. It's a bitch to go to. I think UBS might be worse, but I guess they're probably very similar. A lot of some of those guys are going to be on the opening night roster. If I had to bet, I would say Lombardi's one that has a shot. Dr. PG, I'd take a flyer on JVR for a year, $1 million, maybe even get Oscar Sundqvist for 1 to 1.5. Those two guys could replace Nason and Bukestad for like $2 million less next year, more cap flexibility. As it stands right now, even with shipping those guys out, we could have a filled out bottom six or close to it. World's most overrated arena. I have to disagree. It is a great building. What grade would you give the Devils' offseason moves thus far? I can't do it thus far. There'll be one when the offseason's over. I think individually some of the moves were very good, but I think you're looking for more of like a comprehensive grade. I'll give one when the time comes. Oh yeah, stadium was pretty nice, but man, the Devils got slaughtered. Markey gave up 9 and a hattie to Anthony Duclair. That's brutal. Brutal. Golfing all weekend. I don't think Sunny's going to sign any more free agents. It's possible, but I think there's going to be at least a couple trades. Direwolf, Timo got power play time in San Jose, and he got offensive zone starts. When Timo plays with Nico, he's starting at tons of shifts in the D zone. Center depth should help with this. Nico's had to do the pretty much everything, right? Yeah, D zone draws, the tough matchups all the time. Warrior, Jersey boy for the next 6 years. Joe Cates says, I think Sonny's done for the summer, and that's sad. Dr. PG, I travel from Ontario to Newark every fall to watch a few games. I drag the wife and take her shopping in Hoboken to make up for it. Is she happy with the trade-off? Amagi says, my friend moved to Nashville and he lives like 10 to 15 minutes away from the Preds arena. You should visit him. Nashville's great. A lot of good food, a lot of good sights to see. Dre White says, I love Sonny, so much brighter than Fitz. The Met Jet Devil guy, I refuse to take public transportation for recreation and downtime. I do it enough for my work life. I'm not a big fan of public transportation myself. Jason says, is Rittich going down to the A, or is he competing for a job? He's definitely competing for a job. I just think that, if Dawes fails to beat him out somehow, I think that they're looking at it as this is Dawes' opportunity, right? And I think they're gonna see what he's got. This is it. Sink or swim for Nico Dawes. And if he doesn't look good and he ends up in Utica, then I would say he's never going to be an NHL goalie. If he can't pull it off now, it's never going to happen. But I'm sure they told Rittich, you'll get some games and you'll have a chance to compete. But I don't expect him to play a ton, if I'm being honest. I think Dawes ends up playing a lot, and I think Allen plays a good chunk too. Playoff basketball at the Garden is better than Rangers hockey. Well, I mean, what are you talking about? The NBA champion New York Knickerbockers. Collect records. Just bought a house in East Nashville, and I'm moving down full time at the end of the month. If anyone road trips down for NJD games, hit me up. What exactly is East Nashville? Rittich is making less than Dawes. And he's listen, I think he's an insurance policy. I do. Now, if he somehow plays lights out and whatever, fine. May the best guys get the playing time. But Dawes was a prospect for a while, and he could be a part of the future. Rittich is more of a 1-year layover kind of option. Devils pork roll. Timo literally has the same amount of power play goals as he did in San Jose. Has almost the same amount of power play goals as he did in San Jose. People just thought he'd magically be a point per game player once he got here. That can't be true. Joseph McCauley, credentials way nicer than MSG. We have a great arena. I mean, I don't know that I don't know. I mean, when MSG is a different animal. I have to wholeheartedly disagree. Malik, they offered him the qualifying offer, but then I didn't see that he signed. There could still be something going on with that. I fully expect him to be back. So that must be getting worked on. Prudential is not as nice as MSG. When are you smoking, my guy? Knicks games are way crazier than Rangers games. I've been to both. I haven't been to a Knicks game in forever. I did see Kobe Bryant with an epic performance for the Lakers at there years and years ago. The Met Jet Devil guy, what is the best East Coast arena to go see the Devils on the road outside of MSG and Philly? So, are you talking about just the arena, or are you talking about like the whole trip and the whole like experience? Are you just talking arena specifically? I'll be right back while you answer that. Back in a second. We're gonna leave up the man of the hour. Nico Jaws Dawes. All right, back in a minute. Back in a minute. All right, I think you answered. Let me remove that. Well, you guys are smack talking the Rock, but it is about to get a massive renovation. What that consists of remains to be seen, but they are spending a lot of money in the arena in the next year or so. So the Met Jet Devil guy. Need stuff to do outside the arena too. I would definitely say Boston and Nashville are two great cities with a lot to do. All right, let me see. Dr. PG, I called it that Sunny would 100% add a cheap vet goalie like Rittich. He was one of the main UFAs I figured they would get. An emergency net in case Dawes can't handle the loader in case of injuries. Yeah, that's what I look at it as. I think a lot of people think he's going to play a lot. I don't think he will. Assuming Dawes does what he's supposed to, but I think he's going to I think he's going to show he belongs this year. Can you tell them to get rid of the stupid woo after a goal? We need something better. Certain things you're never getting rid of. I don't necessarily like it, but I have no say in that, obviously. And I also have talked about it a million times, but there's nothing more juvenile and stupid to me than the "you suck" thing. The "you suck" thing is just so terrible. But it's never going away now. It's never going away. But like, the Devils could be losing 4-0 or 4-1 and they score a goal and it's like, oh, it's 4-2 now and there's 4 minutes left and you're chanting "you suck." Like, come on. Doug, the team might play better in front of Dawes too, be more inclined to block shots and get cleaner breakouts. I don't think our goaltending consistency can get worse than last season. I mean, Allen was pretty solid last season. Markstrom had a rough year. No choking. Sup, Ace just got on. How was the day today? Camp. The camp was only 2 days. It was a slightly shorter with much less guys. In the past, they had much more guys there, more players. They had ECHL guys. You saw a ton of guys in previous years. This year, they kept it small and only the 25 and 26 draft guys. So it was only 2 days. And there's videos of, I had a video from day 1 and then day 2 was the skills competition. Both videos are up. That's it. That was it. That was a short camp. And Gashalov, I believe, let me get my paper. I think a few guys had to leave to go home. Let me grab, I think I have the paper still. Yeah, so on the when they printed this up, there was 3 guys that were supposed to be going home, but I think only Gashlov was the only one that missed. I'm pretty sure Sherbakov was out there for day 2, and Rusakovic, the goalie. Actually, I don't think he wasn't there. So those are the only 2, a goalie and Gashalov, I believe, were the only ones missing from day 2. They originally had said that Alexander Command was not going to take the ice, but he did, which was very cool to see. That would have really been kind of lame if he didn't participate in anything on the ice in the 2 days there. I've been to Buffalo, but not to a game. That's on my list. Worth a weekend trip. No choking. Crew Center notoriously has bad seats, whereas MSG has dumb seats for sure. I mean, for me, even the worst seat in the hockey arena is not terrible, but when you're all the way up in some of the spots, it is pretty high, but you can still see. I think they were referring more to like, the arena, not necessarily the seats, but like the food and everything else. Got to keep the wife and kiddies entertained too. How old are your kids? Matt Jet Devil guy. Krung's Prue Center has good views, but MSG is a much better, higher quality arena overall. No choking. MSG probably better, but for average fan viewing experience, I think Prue Center is great and MSG could be a little much. Yeah, Buffalo is far. 8 hours. It's not 8 hours. Are you talking about round trip? It's definitely not 8 hours. Amagi, only good thing about The Rock is the views, the price, and the big screen. The food is terrible. The theming is lackluster. The in-arena experience stinks. Tell us how you really feel, Amagi. But no, I think all those things could be improved upon. Buffalo's an hour from you. Where do you live, Justin? Joseph, I plan on going to Buffalo and Florida this year outside of my many trips to Newark. The Panthers are going to probably be deadly this year. 2902 Project, Devils making the playoffs this year. I'm calling it now. I think I think that's a pretty safe. That's a pretty safe prediction. Amagi, even the security checkpoints at the Pru are horrible. That is one thing that does drive me crazy. They need to upgrade to the same scanners that every other place has, where you don't have to stop and take everything out of your pockets. You just walk through. It's a much better fan experience for sure, to be able to just walk through checkpoints and not feel like you're at the airport, putting your keys and your wallet in a bowl and then pushing it through. And it's a whole thing. Yeah, I don't know if they're all going to happen this offseason, but in the next year or so, I think they're doing a lot. No choking. I'm going to watch their run now because of you. They got this. Oh. Mark Cormier says Montreal on a Saturday night is the place to be. I've been to Montreal a few times in my life. Never to a game. That's been high on my list too. And I am kicking myself for not going to it's because I was going to the Boston ones right after. So it was just a lot of money and time and travel at the time. I wanted to go to the Four Nations game, and that was the crazy one where both Kachuk brothers fought in the first couple seconds. And then who was the third fight? Was it Miller? The three fights right off the beginning. Opening face-off. 8 hours. Were you in a snowstorm? Krung says, someone I know accidentally brought a Leatherman through the security in VIP West. That's the knife, right? Joseph McCauley, just go to Ironbound before the game. Great food. They didn't. The You Suck is terrible. Goal Song is trash. It's okay. I mean, nothing will compare to Rock and Roll Part 2. I'm sure that's coming in the comments below. Amagi, sometimes I ain't got time to go get food before the game. Oh, Amagi, we know you're the arena food connoisseur. Yeah, the camp was small. Krung said, Amagi, aren't you a Pier Club guy? Just dip out for 2 seconds to grab it. The clubs at Prudential, pretty solid. Highly recommend. If you haven't been to or been in any of the club seating, it's a pretty swanky experience. Doug says the You Suck only worked with Rock and Roll Part 2. Now it's just so dragged out. The Jet Devil guy, can they play Seek and Destroy a little louder before the start of the third? I feel like it's played at a quarter volume sometimes. It'd be nice to see them pump up the crowd a little more. I don't recall that. Is it low? I've never had that kind of thought. Matthew E. Ace, who you got in the hot dog eating contest tomorrow? I put 100 grand on Chestnut. Won't be tuning it anymore. If I lose, I'll be homeless. Is Chestnut an overwhelming favorite? I'd have to imagine he is. Just the name Allen was a bit better than Markey last year. I wonder how much ice Rittich will see. 40, 35, 25. Allen, Rittich, Dawes. I think Dawes gets the most. It's my bold prediction. I think they want him to really develop and really claim the spot. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. If he looks good, I think he could run with it. Well, you're that's percentage. I first thought you meant games. So then you're talking about on 84 games, 40% is, God, you're making me do math in my head, like 35. So like 35 games, then 28 games, and 21. 84 game schedule this year. So the percentages would equate to what I just said. No choking. Check out this channel's development footage video if you guys haven't yet. Great stuff. Thanks. My arms felt like they're going to burn off. Sometimes filming for extended periods of time, you start getting cramps and shit. I'm getting old. No choking. Thanks for the update on Gashalov, Sherbakov, and Rusakov. And I noticed, like you said, he wasn't there. I was hoping to see more of him. I'm going to go out on a limb here and make a guess. By any chance, no choking, are you Russian? 4 and 2. Oh, those are fun ages. My nephews now I have 3 nephews. They're 9, 7, and 1. But when they were 4 and 2, they were that was a handful for sure. The Met Jet Devil guy. Thankfully, my wife likes watching hockey and will stay for a whole game and enjoy it. Baseball and football, on the other hand, I'm on my own. Oh, baseball? I can't do baseball. I could watch football here and there. Dr. PG met Mr. Devil himself at the Rock last year, snapped a couple of picks, solid guy. Oh, they don't make him any better than Mr. Devil, Ken Danico. Franchise legend. Barn Owl says, go get Larkin, U.S. connection with Jack, or get us Robertson. We need some juice injected into this group. Barn Owl, I hate to tell you, I think you need to lower your expectations a bit. I don't think either one of those is very likely whatsoever. Nothing's worse than MetLife. That's the biggest dump. Yeah, kind of lame. Larkin doesn't want to be a Devil. I actually think that trade will drag out for a while. Who knows? I wouldn't be completely shocked if he ends up playing for Detroit. Jordan Stahl fighting Kachuk from opening faceoff and winning Conn Smythe was crazy too. Never been to Raleigh. No choking. I'm heading out. Just wanted to stop in to say what's up. I'll once again put out all my energy in this chat into channeling DeBrincat to New Jersey. Let it happen, please. I don't think there's going to be any big ads. Dire Wolf, you cooking any ideas for players, features, maybe get some behind-the-scenes anonymous takes on how things are different under Sunny versus Fitz? I got a lot of stuff in the works. A lot of ideas. The offseason's rough. It's a rough time. The dead time. But stay tuned. I got these ideas. Krungs, it's hard to be in general pop after getting pure club tickets. It's once you go club, you can never go back. It's really tough to experience the club and then just go back to non-club. It's a tough adjustment. Amaki, I'll never beat the allegations of constantly being in VIP because that's usually where you stay. Dogzilla says Rittich is likely safety valve in the event of Allen or Dawes getting injured. Makes sense. That's how I look at it. I think he'll get some starts, or if he comes in there and plays lights out, maybe he steals more time. But I think the plan from the Devils' perspective is Dawes and Allen with Rittich when needed, and there is like that safety net in case an injury, Dawes falls apart. Dr. PG always splurge for the club seats. I got a goalie mask souvenir and I bought the garlic knots. A cool little detail. I remember seeing that. They did a couple other promos like that too, but the garlic knots and the mask's pretty cool. Joseph McCauley, is the club food any good, better than the good you buy in the hallway? I always sit in the 200s. Joseph, I would tell you yes. Not everything's a hit. Sometimes there's misses, but when you're in the club, if something sucks, you could just get something else. You could just be like, I don't want to eat this, throw it away and go get something else. Or sometimes I've gotten things where it's like, oh, the burger may have been like not so great because it was sitting there for a minute, but then they keep replenishing it. So then I waited for a fresh one. Like, yeah, and you have so much more variety. I would highly recommend the clubs over anything. David Chimes, my predicted starting lineup after offer sheet works. Brat, Jack, Erod. Okay, so you do have him in the top 6 on the wing. Timo, Nico, Grits, Mercer, Hayden, Brown, Boquist, Glass, Nason, Bukestad, Reserve, Haminaho, Utica. It is crazy. A few weeks ago, I would have said I thought Lenny was a lock to be on the big club, but now, in the past couple of weeks, I don't think it's the case anymore. I think he's going to be battling for a spot. Krungs is all about the clubs as well. He said you're being fed shrimp cocktail, sushi, carving stations, etc. All you can eat. It's the way to go. Rittich had some good numbers last year. Jason said, I can't believe you don't like football, Ace, especially with the physicality. I like it. I don't love it. I was more into it when I was younger. I still watch here and there, but like I don't think I've watched a full game probably in a while. Probably a really long time. And I guess because my life got a little busier too with this and a bunch of other things. But I used to religiously for years watch, the Monday night game, and I'd watch usually the Sunday night game and every Giants game. But I just kind of fell out of it with other things going on. Jason knows that you're a big dude. You never played football. No, they tried to get me to play when I was in 8th grade. They asked me to play, but I was like, nah, I'm out. I enjoyed being a kid and not having to, revolve your life around practices and all this stuff. Because I was pretty big when I was young. And they were like, maybe you should come out for football. I was like, nah, I'm good. I also didn't like a lot of the football players too. So there was that element as well. Andrew Luca says, we've had to lower our expectations for years now. When will it change? Andrew Luca is a super pessimist, and I get it. Probably a longtime fan as well, I would imagine, with the profile photo of Scott Stevens crunching Lindros. What a beautiful hit. It's a new regime, so unfortunately, you might have to take a half a step backward for the ultimate goal. Someone had posted on X something like, if Fitz did these moves, people would be rioting and throwing chicken tenders on the ice or something. And it's true, but this is not Fitz. And so, like I've said a million times, you may be underwhelmed in the moment, but I do think there is a plan. And I do think when opportunity arises that Sunny Mehta will strike. Matthew E says, what is Robertson going to get if Carlson's getting 18 million? We're going to find out. No Choking says, before I leave, I forgot to mention, I got to tell you how funny it was when you tried to get the blemishes, scratches out of the shot. Oh yeah, and crazy guess, only a quarter Russian, but fan of Russian lit. Dude, so I have cameras and I also have phones, and sometimes a lot of times the phone is just easier, but I have like decent camera equipment as well. But I was filming on the phone and filming through the glass. The practice rink glass is destroyed with puck marks and stick marks. And then there's obviously the angle of the reflection and the light. There's a ton of things going on, and it's super hard to film in that spot. And the phone like auto focuses. So sometimes if you're moving, it'll like pick up a mark and it'll like try to focus on it. And it's very annoying. And it was driving me crazy while I was doing it, but I think that's what you're talking about, right? In the development videos. No Choking says, just love my Russian prospects. Nail Yakupov ruined the scouting accuracy for decades more to come. What a story that guy is. Max is 20 million. Just the name Ace. Thanks for your integrity and asking Sunny the goalie question right out of the gate. Can only imagine how much of a headache you can be managing this channel and your primary job. We appreciate. Thank you. Thank you. This is part of my job. One of the more fun parts. Well, depends on the night, I suppose, or the day. Doug, a team should just offer sheet Bedard now to mess with Chicago. So I saw a lot of people speculating that. And then someone said, that reporter, I think it was Chris Johnson, said he expected another sheet, but it never happened. Jace, no, at least today. I think if the Devils are in good shape at the deadline, Sunny will pull the trigger on a big move. I agree with that. Andrew Luca, good night, everyone. Have a happy and safe 4th of July. Go Devils. Dire Wolf, anyone have an idea when the schedule is going to drop? Got to be earlier with the early season start. Want to start planning. I'd imagine by like July 14th-ish. Always a great day. NHL schedule release day is always a good one. Gleason said Lenny would play over Nason and Boquist. Dr. PG, the wife makes me a plate every intermission in the club. I need to be rolled out on a gurney after. I know the feeling. I've gone completely overboard in the clubs many a night. The Metchet Devil guy went to a game with my dad in November and saw Frank the Tank online with us to buy mystery pucks. My guy said that guy's all an act. Ended up taking a picture together. My dad goes, not an act. Fell into the boards. Krung says, I grew up playing tackle football, but always hated watching it. It's so much slower to watch than play. Mark Cormier says, after that Gritsuk extension, I'm buying his jersey. Probably a good one to buy. One of the bright spots during a down season last year for the Devils, Arseny Gritsuk. Can he have a big sophomore campaign? Joseph McCauley, good night, dude. Love the channel. Hopefully I see you at the Rocks this year. Have a good one. Have a good one. Enjoy your 4th. Doug, I love football, but I get out of touch with the regular season come November. More so recently because the Giants have been terrible for a decade. It is crazy. What a fall from grace. I mean, Eli delivered the 2 titles, and then this Jackson Dart kid might end up being something, right? Jason, no, I used to get the bad headaches and puke at least a couple times a year from football. Damn. It is crazy how much more the medical community now knows about CTE and all of these things that weren't really a thing back in the day, or at least it wasn't really discussed. Just the name, Carlson, 61 goals in 3 years, $90 million contract. I think Briere hasn't fully recovered from Volchenkov and Kronwall scrambling. Again, that's a $90 million bet on the trajectory. I mean, could this kid put up 100+ points next year? It's definitely possible. But yeah, $18 million a year. What a time. Concussions weren't a big thing then. The Flyers would be dangerous. Another team in the mix in the Metropolitan Division. Another team in the mix. Jason, no, I wanted the Devils to have a physical 4th line with some scoring touch. Yeah, that's always the nice thought, right? 4th line that could bang and put in some goals. Good night, Justin. Jason, no, if Hayden comes, the Devils need to make a shutdown line to take pressure off of Nico. Doug, they have a young core and got Harbaugh as head coach, just not as invested as I used to be. Makes sense. You talking about the Caps now? I mean, I'd imagine they would be. They picked up Kyrou and Tuck. I mean, wow. Caps fans got to be jacked. They get Kyrou, Tuck, and Ovechkin says he's coming back. Sheesh. What an offseason. What an offseason. $29.02 project says Anaheim will match Carlson, probably. Philly own them. Nico could focus more on offense. It'd be nice to see Nico put up some beast numbers next year. I mean, the guy's averaged 30 goals a year over the past 4 years. Last year was slightly down. He had 28 and then 35 the year before, 27 before that, and then 22, 23 at 31. 58, 93. Yeah, he's averaged 30.25 goals. He had 121 goals over the past 4 years. It's pretty solid. Dr. PG, I remember when Halla crunched a chicken tendy when fans started chalking them on the ice. Did he really? I don't remember that part. Just the name. Sunny throwing out offer sheets before it was cool. Trust night, I'll stay up, Ace. Good night. Look how big the Caps forward group is. They're enormous. And Ovechkin coming back. Trying to find something here. Matthew, Ovechkin skates like an 84-year-old Vietnam vet. Wouldn't be surprised if he was not. How dare you talk about the all-time leading goal scorer like that? The man is a legend of the game. Krunk says, I wonder if Ovi goes full Gordie Howe and plays when he's in his 50s. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. Tyler just snagged a white Jack jersey. Got it for $90 off Fanatics. Crazy deal for an authentic jersey. I saw that. The white one, right? Caps went decades before finally winning the cup. They got their one, and Ovechkin celebrated that all summer long. Yeah, Caps have been good for a while. 18 out of 20 years, give or take. Ovechkin and Backstrom. What an era. And it's crazy how long it goes by quick. Yeah, it was just October was the 20th anniversary of Sidney Crosby's NHL debut, which coincidentally was in New Jersey against the Devils. Zach Parisi's NHL debut as well. Doc, the days of Doug, the days of Doc calling Sid versus Ovi playoff games. Battles. Jay Snow, I'm still concerned the lack of a 1A goalie and no top six winger. They're going to have to play consistent hockey. I think the top six winger is more troublesome, in my opinion, than the goalie. I think I've thought for a while that if they just got league average goaltending, they should be competitive with all the weapons they have. Doug, the NHL and NBC at a timeless touch the broadcast. ESPN has no clue how to broadcast NHL. It used to be great back in the day with Melrose. I remember watching games late at night on ESPN2 at night. It was sick. Matthew says, oh, no, I love Ovi, but other than a shot, he's closing to being in a retirement home in an NHL roster. Well, that shot still finds the back of the net. The shot still finds the back of the net because it's like a blast. It is a blast. Yeah, I didn't have internet, folks. I had a Fios outage. Hope it doesn't happen again. I don't know what the hell happened, but I was going to do this live last night because I didn't want to do anything today. But I had no internet. Was on the phone with somewhere overseas. That's always a harrowing experience. Trying to get some sort of tech support. They got me running around unplugging things, the Ethernet, the re-hit the button, stick a pin in the reset thing. Does the light blink? It was terrible. And I just got it back like an hour or so before this. Amagi, just realized hometown remix Rodriguez jersey is going to look dope in my collection. Well, how do you even know? You don't even know what the jersey looks like. You're just assuming it's going to be cool, Amagi. Turco, my man, Ace, will you be doing live call-ins again? Eventually. Eventually. Brat and Timo have to have big seasons. Everyone needs to have big seasons. Timo especially needs to score over 30. I'm not going to put that on him. I think 60 points is a win. If you get 60 points out of Timo and he's crushing people and being an agitator, I think that's a win, however it comes. If it's 25-35, 30-30 would probably be ideal. But without power play one time, Snow, he's not getting 30 goals. Let's be real. He needs power play one time. Dr. PG, Sonny needs to hire a personal food server so he doesn't hurt himself at dinner. Krung's 27 top 6 hunt isn't necessarily over yet. Devils still have 4 first-round picks the next 2 years and clearly multiple contracts they're looking to get rid of. I agree. And if it doesn't happen this summer, deadline or next summer could happen. Doug, they need to bring back the painted Stanley Cup playoffs and finals logos on the ice come playoff time. That was pretty cool. That was a nice touch. I do remember them fondly. Seeing if I have a photo handy. I can't find it. Technically, the Devils got league average goaltending last year. Statistically, even with marquee stats, it didn't end up being what we thought it would be. That's because the offense was Sahara Desert dry so often. Cody Glass. Glass was a beast. Hopefully he comes back with that fire. Yeah, we couldn't score. Krunk says, fun fact is those tech support people will hang up on you if your call goes past 30 minutes because they get a black mark on their record. Is that true? I kept getting put on hold and passed around. It was brutal. I think it's hard to mess up a Devils jersey, no? Touche. I mean, maybe not mess it up, but it could be underwhelming, I suppose. I still don't understand 31st and 5-on-5 scoring. Brutal. Jay Snow says, Timo should get power play 1. 2902 Project He-Shirt needs to have a big season for sure. Gleason, if Timo got 60 points and was agitating, then I would not say a bad word all year. I will sing his praises, but I'm not for the excuses. You can remember this. Matthew E. Wouldn't it have been legendary if Doc was on the call for the USA gold medal? Nothing against Kenny, but I still remember Doc's call on Parisi tying goal in the 2010 gold medal game. Doc is arguably the best to ever do it of any sport. Dr. PG Hallinan was signed to a 2-year by Boston yesterday. I remember when he threw the hammer on a dude last year. Yeah, you're talking about the overhand shot at the end of the Toronto game? It was sick. Put him right down. Yeah, the Leafs. He just came over the top. Boop. I'm fading. Most telecom providers offshore their customer service to cut costs. I don't think it's just telecom providers. I think it's pretty much everybody. TBD. I think Grits is going to get a crack. Coach G says, I won't judge Timo's production until they actually use him at right wing. This could be the year. Doug, if part of the Prudential renovation getting a priest to exorcise the demons from the cemetery the building was built over. Someone got the Etsy witch, didn't they? Doug, if we start the season with Timo on Nico's right wing, we are looking way better. Matthew E. Soon, NJ Devils ticket reps will be in Bangladesh. I don't think so. Who's on Jack's wing? Bratter and probably Connor Brown. Oh, Dr. PG is going to put some lines out there. Let's see what they are. 2902 Project. Have a good sleep, dude. Great stream. Thank you, sir. Put Grits on Nico's left wing. Yeah, Brat. Oh, this is interesting. And then you're going to have what? Jack with Grits and Brown. I'm assuming that that's going to be your next line. Or is it going to be a Rodriguez? You should just put the whole thing at once. Now I'm sitting here waiting to see what it's going to be while I fall asleep. Oh my God. Yeah, Larkin, Jack, Robo. Glass Grits Brown exposed some teams' bottom lines would be cool to see again. Yeah, they got some favorable matchups and definitely worked some other third lines over. Lamico, Nico, Timo. Krungs, I was surprised to hear how pumped Grits was hearing about Erod. Grits, Glass, Mercer. Erod is a guy who could play up and down the lineup. Doug, Brown, Hughes, Brett, Grits, Nico, Timo. Rodriguez, Hay, Mercer, Boquist, Glass, Bukestad. Oh, this is Dr. PG's. There's no way Rodriguez is playing the fourth line, sir. No chance. Jay Snow, I wonder what Tarasenko wants. There's a lot of these guys still floating out there. Kane supposedly is going. Oh, yeah, you talking about Patrick Kane? He's supposedly going back to Buffalo. I mean, his hometown of Buffalo. To play for the Sabres. That's what the rumors are. Ugh. All right, that's it, folks. I'm done. I'm dying. I'm dying out here. You folks enjoy your 4th of July. Make sure you subscribe for NJ.com, bringing you stories throughout the summer, all season long. Keep it locked on this channel. Subscribe if you haven't. Put on the notifications. Hit the thumbs up, obviously, all that stuff. And we keep an eye. We keep an eye out to see what else occurs in the days ahead. Every day is a winding road. That's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends. Happy